Recorded Books presents The Wife of Bath, a biography by Marion Turner, narrated by the author. For Peter and Cecilia, who know the importance of painting the lion. Introduction. It might have been my mother, or it might have been the wife of Bath. Hilary Mantel, The Mirror and the Light. Hilary Mantel's reference to the wife of Bath in her wildly popular 2020 novel set in the time of Henry VIII makes two assumptions. First, that modern readers know who the wife of Bath is, and second, that they understand what she might have signified in Thomas Cromwell's world. In this scene, Cromwell, Henry VIII's right-hand man, is telling his closest colleagues about how Geoffrey de la Pole will respond to interrogation, saying that he will endlessly obfuscate and will keep contradicting himself, saying something happened in October or March, in Sussex, far south, or Yorkshire, in the north, that the person involved might have been his mother or might have been the wife of Bath. The implication is that Chaucer's heroine is as well known as the months or English geography or one's parents. And although she is presented here as a foil to Geoffrey's mother, in fact the two women are rather similar. Margaret de la Pole, suspected of treason to the king and later executed for it, was a woman who, like Alison of Bath, challenged authority and went her own way, as many medieval women did. Mantel correctly implies here that in the 16th century and in the 21st, Alison of Bath was and is part of the cultural fabric of many English-speaking women's and men's lives. Why has this character from a 14th century poem had such a dramatic impact across time? The wife of Bath is the first ordinary woman in English literature. By that I mean the first mercantile, working, sexually active woman. Not a virginal princess or queen, not a nun, witch or sorceress, not a damsel in distress, nor a functional servant character, not an allegory. A much-married woman and widow who works in the cloth trade and tells us about her friends, her tricks, her experience of domestic abuse, her long career combating misogyny, her reflections on the ageing process, and her enjoyment of sex. Alison exudes vitality, wit, and rebellious self-confidence. Alison is a character whom readers across the centuries have usually seen as accessible, familiar, and in a strange way, real. For many people, she is by far the most memorable of the Canterbury pilgrims. Almost from the moment of her conception, she exceeded her own text, appearing in Chaucer's other writings, in a way no other character does, before being seized and appropriated by readers, scribes, and other poets alike. Over and over again, in different time periods and cultural contexts, readers see her as relatable in certain ways, as a three-dimensional figure who is far more than the sum of her parts. She may be ordinary, but she is also extraordinary. However, Alison of Bath is not a real woman, nor was she based on a real woman or created by a woman. She is not even a fully rounded, psychologically complex character in the same way that, say, Dorothea Brooke or Clarissa Dalloway are. But neither is she an eternal type, the principle of the feminine, and every woman, Eve. The wife of Bath is, in some ways, a mosaic of many sources, all penned by men, most of them misogynist. Yet she does not come across as simply a jumble of the writings of St. Paul, Jerome, Jean de Man, and Walter Map. No one before Chaucer had turned the anti-feminists' words around and against them as Alison does. No one had imagined a female character with this kind of wit, rhetorical technique, and personal experience going head-to-head with the most authoritative of authorities. Chaucer performed some kind of alchemy when he fused his cluster of well-worn sources with contemporary details and a distinctive,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?